Hello and welcome to Scrap Mechanic and the Flying Dutchman, which is around here behind me. And as you can see, I've made a lot of progress on it since the last episode. It is now grey because after much analysis of images, it is in fact a grey colour. I mean, it would probably be better if I blueprint edited it to be a colour that is light grey but slightly more green, because there's quite a bit of contrast between this and green. But this is as close as I can get with default colouring, and although I could go and blueprint edit it, the problem with that is that if I do that I can't really use the paint tool to change things. If I accidentally delete a block, I want to place some blocks, I can't paint them. So it's going to have to be grey for now. At some point I might blueprint edit it, like replace all grey with slightly off grey, but let's actually look at some of the other progress that isn't just the green. So if we go up to the front, you might notice there's some weird things going on here. Not quite sure what they are. I think they should have skulls on the end, but well, I can't make skulls. And let's look at the front. Oh look, I've built the big scary jaws things that it has, because it has these jaws at the front. I mean, they're not really jaws, it's just like sort of a teeth thing. And we also have some nice cannon holes at the front. And we have cannon holes going all the way down the sides. And well, the cannon holes on the sides actually do work. I mean, I can open up the front ones. Well, actually I can't because it's on the lift. Never mind, I'll do that in a second. It's also very laggy now. I fell off. But yes, it has cannon holes. There are cannons. If I pop down here, you can see we have cannons. And down here we have more cannons. There's a lot of cannons. I have also done some work at the back. There are these balconies, and there are the sort of things sticking off the side. They're not quite as noticeable as perhaps they should be. If you're at the back, you can see though. Now, these sensors down here are in fact not working properly for some reason. Hang on. They should. Sensor. No, it is working. It might just be because it's on a lift. So those are in fact blueprint edited to be 256 block sensors, because it's not very helpful if your cannons only fire when there's something literally right next to you. So the cannons, if I hop down here, they're a bit stupid looking. They are very fat, but this is the only way I could possibly make them work with the spud guns here. And there is in fact 8 spud guns here, they're just shoved in together. And we also have this mess down here. And if you've played Scrap Mechanic, you might know what all these blue dots are, because these blue dots are thrusters, and we'll get to that in a second. But these cannons are effectively like shotguns, because, well, I don't have a cannon. I can't make something that goes boom and blows stuff up. But if we just hop down here, you can see there's a ton of thrusters. And you may notice these thrusters are in fact pointing upwards. These thrusters will propel us downwards, because it's the Flying Dutchman. The Flying Dutchman lives at the bottom of the ocean. The only problem is that this thing is now so big and so complex and has so many parts to it that, well, it's quite laggy. So, well, I'm going to have to take it off the lift at some point if I want to actually show it being driven. But then I'm going to have to stop talking. I'm going to have to do it as a voiceover so that I can play the video at like 2 or 3 times speed, just so it's not so laggy for you. I've also marked out this position as where the mast should go. Haven't built it yet. Not quite sure how I'm going to build it. Also, sails. Yeah, there's still plenty to be done on this, but I have this nice control chair. I can go through the controls before I actually use them. So 1 would be the sort of normal forwards. 2 and 3 are steering. 4 is... I've forgotten. What's 4? 4 is open, put the guns out. Then 5 is fire the guns, because I have a switch to roll the guns out, and a switch, the fire at will switch I like to call it, which basically makes them shoot when they can see something in range. Then I have this one which is useless because it opens to the triple chaser guns at the front, and well, there aren't any triple chaser guns because I tried building them and it didn't work. So currently there are not triple chaser guns. I would like to make them, but one of the measures that I have taken to make the game actually run is turning this physics quality down to simple 1, because I had it advanced. It was about 2 FPS. If I went near anything, it dropped down to about 2 SPF, which isn't great. This doesn't really affect this ship because all the thrust is in the main body. If I were doing vehicles, turning the quality onto simple would just make all the wheels go floppy, but this doesn't have wheels, this doesn't have power going through the wheels, so I can turn the physics quality down. It makes this thing drive a bit funny because the thrusters go, ooh, the thrusters, look at these thrusters. They're so wobbly because the centre of thrust is slightly offset with the steering. I don't quite know what turning down physics quality does, but the effect of it seems to be that it makes bearings just less strong. Don't know whether that's what it's intended to do, or whether it's doing something and that's just the result of it, but that is what it seems to do. So, now I think it's time to take this thing for a nice laggy drive. So, we can press 1, and we move off at a nice slow and steady speed, and then we can turn, and it doesn't turn all that fast, I'm gonna be honest. And then 7 is this button. 7 is the initiate super speed. Like, I mean, it appears to be going quite fast. It is going quite fast. It could go faster, but like, for a big ship, I thought big ship ought to have some kind of speed about it. But also, I'm not... When it comes to building sails, I don't actually have to worry about the whole making the sails furl up and unfurl and wind speed, because the Dutchman doesn't in fact use its sails. It magically travels without using the sails, and it doesn't furl them or unfurl them or any of that stuff, which makes my life a lot easier when it comes to building it. I just have to build some fixed sails. But we can go across the rest of the map pretty quickly. It is quite fast, especially considering how big it is. And then we have the tedious process of turning around. And then there's button 8 and 9. And we will come to those just about now. Well, I say about now in about 2 seconds, please. Get on with it. There we go. 8 and 9, make it do this. There's one for the front and one for the back, so I can sort of adjust my pitch. It's also quite slow. This section of the video is sped even more than the previous bit, because for some reason when you go underwater it's even more laggy. This means I have to speed the video up even more to try and give it a good frame rate, and I'm still detecting some bits of choppiness as I'm watching it. But we can just descend to the depths of the ocean, or not quite down there because it's quite a long way. It is quite deep. And we can actually move around under the ocean with no particular problem. It is technically faster to move around on top, but well, no one's going to see you coming if you're under the water. It also looks a bit stupid, like a ship under the ocean. Another thing when I build a mast is it's going to be a lot taller, and so we're going to have to go a lot deeper. And then we have to do the dramatic coming out of the water, which, to be honest, doesn't work quite as well in Scrap Mechanic as it does in Pirates of the Caribbean, simply because it can't go fast enough. In Pirates of the Caribbean it comes with some massive dramatic splashing, and well, that doesn't work in Scrap Mechanic because it just doesn't come out of the water fast enough. Which is kind of sad, but like, there's not really much I can do about it. And of course it doesn't actually make loads of splashing effects and water flying everywhere, because again, Scrap Mechanic doesn't do that. And well, I've turned... I wouldn't be able to have it on because this thing's so laggy anyway. I'll just have the entire video just be pre-recorded and then voice over because I would have like 2 times speed for the whole thing, and that's awkward. But then I can just show you some of my sick parking skills, because I'm so amazing at parking this thing. There we go. That's it. That's all the stuff that the thing does. Thank you for watching. Don't get distracted. Go subscribe now, and until next time, goodbye.